Hello and welcome to the May 2022 monthly melt for chocolate covered games. This is your first time joining us. I'm Doug.
And I'm Tim.
And we do multiple segments here. And we start off with our first segment,
which is our
fives. And for this month, Tim got the pick.
Yep. And for this month, I decided, we've done things about games in general, board games and whatnot. So I thought this month we would do video games. What our top 5 favorite video games of all time are.
Okay.
So since this is my list, you get to say your
Yep.
one first.
So you will see a theme in mine.
My themes are all video games.
Yes. But my number 5 is NASCAR Dirt to Daytona.
Okay.
That was developed by Monster Games and published by Infogamers.
Okay.
And it came out in November of 2002. And I would have played it on the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
That would have been the console I played it on. And NASCAR Dirt to Daytona, there were 4 different series in it. There were like a weekly racing series, a modified series, the truck series, and then the Cup series. You could play each one individual, or you could do a career and work your way up through. And I really enjoyed that game. The only drivers that were actual drivers were in the Cup series, and there were a couple in the truck series. Other than that, it was all just fantasy made up names. But it was a fun game. It was a really cool game to sort of get into that career mode of starting at a lower level in a racing series and building your way up. So again, my number 5 coming out in 2002.
Okay.
And playing it on the PlayStation 2, NASCAR Dirt to Daytona.
Okay. My number 5 is a video game based off of a board game.
Okay.
It was Risk, the game of global domination.
All right.
This version that's on my list is the 1996 PlayStation 1 version that was published by Hasbro Interactive. This is probably the best version of video game Risk.
Okay.
Because it gave you multiple maps, like close up of Europe, close up of America,
yeah,
or you could do the world. It would add things like rebellions, like if you only have like one person in like several locations and then big army,
yeah,
that one person would eventually rebel if you didn't start putting multiple people there. Or if you had like 3 people, like one would just desert. It had weather, so like you couldn't go across certain areas because of thunderstorms, or rock slides would happen, cutting off paths completely.
Okay.
It was a very unique take on Risk. I wish they would come back to that for the video game version. The one they have now is just chucking dice like in the real version. But this has a lot of different gameplay elements to it. Played it a lot with my friend that we used to live next door to at the time. Probably my favorite PS1 game, just in general. And that was Risk for the PS1, released in 1996.
All right. So my number 4, again, we'll continue on my first theme here. It's World of Outlaws Sprint Cars, published by Big Ant Games, and it came out in 2010. So another race game. I'm a big racing guy. Love this game because it was the first real sprint car game that was put out. It's just when I was starting to get into sprint cars. It had every historic track.
Okay.
Knoxville, Eldora, Volusia, Williams Grove, which is right down the road from us, so that was really cool. Had a who's who of everybody in the sport at the time. From Steve Kinzer to Donnie Schatz, who still not a fan of Donnie Schatz, but you got to respect what he's done. Jason Sides, Joey Saldana, Wild Child Jack Hottenshield, local boy Lucas Wolf, who I'm a big fan of, Chad Kemenall, Terry McCarl, Kerry Matson. I mean, the list went on and on for the number of drivers, which they're still around, but to have the license to go out and get those tracks, go out and get those names, just made that game. And again, the career mode was really cool with starting out as a small team, working your way up, improving your car. But now with iRacing and everything else that's out, a lot of these older racing games don't even hold a candle to what's out there now. But World of Outlaws, Sprint Cars, Big Ant Games from 2010. It's very hard to find. If you can find it, pick it up, check it out. And I played that on the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
I believe that was, forgot to mark down what that was, but yeah, that was PlayStation 2.
Okay. My number 4 is from 2008. It was a Nintendo DS game.
Okay.
It was Professor Layton and the Curious Village. This was published by Level 5 Games. This was the first of several games in the Professor Layton series. But a lot like Star Wars, the game started you off in the middle of the story, essentially.
Okay.
When you put them all in chronological order, which ways you should play them.
Yeah.
Really love the art style of this game. It had a very French watercolor animation, like cutscenes to them, like Tintin and whatnot.
Okay.
Thousands and thousands of puzzles, just all sorts, like how to get things across the river, or how to stack certain things, or with the DS, it gave you puzzles that you didn't figure out until you closed the DS and would transfer stuff between the two screens until you opened it up and figured it out. Just a very unique puzzle series that I'm always glad that there's a puzzle game. Wish they would come to the Switch, the current system I own. They have one game on the Switch now. It's mixed ratings, but my number 4 is Professor Layton and the Curious Village.
All right. So my number 3, we're going to throw it back a little farther.
Okay.
Back to 1999.
Okay.
Even though this game came out in 1998, Triple Play 1999,
Okay.
published by EA Sports, and this was for the PlayStation. This would have been the baseball game with Alex Rodriguez on the cover.
Yep.
Back when he played for the Mariners. Man, what a great baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
From the stadium in outer space where bunts were home runs,
Yep.
and you know, the game was broken because even at a regular stadium,
Most things were home.
bunts were hits,
Yeah.
and, you know, almost all the time. But the thing that absolutely made this game were the commercials
Mm-hmm.
for Pope Mobile cabs and oyster pudding. That's the one everybody remembers. But I just overall gameplay, from what I remember, it was very enjoyable. Of course, I haven't played this game probably in, so it's 2022 right now. I probably haven't played this game in 21 years.
Probably.
Probably since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least whenever we got rid of our PlayStation, went to PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of all the baseball games, that's my favorite. I think it's 2014 MLB The Show, whichever one with Andrew McCutcheon on the cover, probably be my second. But yeah, Triple Play 99. Again, if you're able to find that one, any of those Triple Play series games back in the day. But again, Triple Play 99, EA Sports on the PlayStation.
My number 3 game is a more recent game. Came out in 2020. It's on multiple platforms, but the version I played was on the Switch. It was from Thunder Lotus Games, a publisher. They still exist. So,
Okay.
it is from Thunder Lotus
Yes.
Games. And that is Spirit Fair. Normally a game I wouldn't play because it's a lot of reading.
Okay.
Like, it is a very story-driven game where you play as a girl who has already died.
Okay.
You're in the afterlife, and you're a captain of this boat, ferrying spirits that you somehow know in your lifetime
Okay.
to usher them into the afterlife, and they can't move on until you do certain things.
All right.
And the reason you have to read these bubbles is because all the clues of how you know them are in the text.
Okay.
And it's a very sad game. It'll make you cry several times because you get to connect to these people and figure out why they mean so much to you. And like some of the characters, how they died is tragic, or who they related are to you. And there's one, I don't want to spoil the whole game, but there's one character that fears death even though they're dead and doesn't want to move on no matter how much you try to move them on. And it's just very sad pushing them into the afterlife. Like gently pushing them, but
not like shoving them off a cliff.
I mean, at the beginning, I'm like, just move on, and they didn't want to move on. And
Yeah.
Trying to get them there. So it's a very great game. There's not a lot of games to this game. It's more or less go to this island, do this thing for this person, and then sit down and read like 10 minutes of text.
Okay.
But it was a very well made game that they made DLC for, which I haven't finished yet because I got halfway through it and realized, oh no, this one's gonna be super sad. So I still have to finish the DLC, but that's my number 3, Spirit Fair.
Okay. So my number 2, we're gonna throw it back even farther, back to 1993.
Okay.
Which is funny, it came out in March of '93, but it's NHL '94.
Okay.
I believe that was EA Sports. I forgot to mark down who actually came out with that.
They would have had the license at the time, I believe.
And this was for a system we did not own.
Okay.
But a friend owned it, and we played it all the time there. That was the Sega Genesis. And NHL '94 is one of the most highly regarded hockey games out there, one of the most highly regarded sports games. Maybe not so much now, considering all the stuff that is newer and more fancy. But then there were two things that sold this game. One was that a lot of the teams had their individual goal horns and songs. So the Whalers had Brass Bonanza, and they used When the Saints Go Marching In for the Blues, even though they don't use that anymore.
Yeah.
Or the Saber Dance for the Sabres, or Here Come the Hawks for the Blackhawks. So that was cool that they used some of the actual goal horns and songs that the teams use then. But the other thing that really sold this game was the goal celebration.
Everybody had the same celebration, just like in real life.
Because the one guy stood in the middle, and the other 4 guys stood around him, and they all went like this.
Yep.
That was the greatest hockey celebration in any hockey game. Actually, that might have been the first game to have a celebration after a goal like that. This is why everybody loved it. But yeah, NHL '94, great game. It did include fighting in the U.S. Apparently, the Japan version did not.
Okay.
Because at that point, with the NHL trying to get rid of fighting, and them not wanting to promote violence in video games, which was weird, because so many video games do have violence.
Well, nowadays, but that was a hot button issue back then.
So, between that and the original NES hockey game, where you had the 3 different sized dudes and
very violent, that game.
or Blades of Steel, where if you bumped into each other 3 times, then you fought, and the loser got drugged to the penalty box.
Yeah.
But out of all those, NHL '94 still gets the nod, just because of the goal celebration, the goal horns, plus you go back and you get like Timu Solani on the Jets, which again he was very dominant. Plus that game, the most dominant player in the game, rank wise, actually accredits that game to some of why he became a fan favorite, and that's Jeremy Roenick, which is weird to think that Jeremy Roenick credits NHL '94 for some of his fan likability.
Because you want to always play as the guy that
As the best, yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know if Gretzky was in that game. He had to be, but it might have been like the Michael Jordan thing where it was like player 99.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
That was your number 2?
2.
My number 2 is from 1990. It was on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who published it, because this was Super Mario Brothers 3, so it was Nintendo who published it.
Okay.
This was probably I'm not going to say the best Mario game, because a lot of people come after me. People really love...
Well,
it's my favorite.
Is there one, is your number 1 another Mario?
No, but
okay.
But I can't say it's the best Mario, because that'd be opinionated.
My number 1 game, I'm saying, is the best form of this game, hands down, no matter what.
I mean, there's a lot of good Mario games. It's hard to find a bad Mario game.
NHL '94 is the best hockey game, no matter what.
But it's one of the first games that I knew that I completed from start to the end, because there was no save files.
I don't know if I ever beat any of the Mario Brothers. I don't think I beat any of the Mario Brothers. I really don't.
You didn't beat one?
No, I don't think I beat any Mario Brothers game.
But Super Mario Bros. 3 introduced the overworld with the maps. It gave you all these fun power-ups. You know, I'm pretty sure no one watching this has never heard of Super Mario Brothers in general. Especially with the movie coming out pretty soon. But,
is there one coming out?
Yeah, everybody's up in arms because Chris Pratt's playing Mario.
No.
And he talks like this. I'm a Mario. I guess he's trying to go for the Captain Lou sound. But he just sounds like he's like half coughing the whole time. Come on, Luigi. We gotta save the princess, kind of stuff.
No, Super Mario Brothers 3 was the one with the where they went to the desert.
Yep, and they went to the Little Big Island.
And you rode the cloud from place to place.
Yeah, there was a cloud
on the map. Like when you finish one land,
you just moved to the next one.
There was a cloud that picked you up and took you to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, so Super Mario Bros. 3, my favorite Super Mario Brother of all time. And that was my number 2. Came out in 1990 for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I like regular Mario Brothers.
You know, Odyssey that came out was really good.
I don't even remember Super Mario Brothers 2.
It was the one that was a reskin of Doki Doki.
But I do remember 3.
Yep.
So, my number 1 game, which is by far the best game out of the 2 lists here, is probably the oldest game on the list.
Pong.
No.
Frogger.
No.
I'm trying to combine the word Frogger and Pond. I couldn't come up with a good word. I came up with Pronger.
Pogger?
Yeah.
But this came out in 1989.
Okay.
So you were a whopping 3 years old.
Yep.
It came out, or it was published by Leland Corporation.
Okay.
And this came out on the NES.
Okay.
And that is Ivan Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road.
Just not off-road, it was super.
It was super off-road, because it was the super arena trucks.
But it's just funny saying it out loud.
Some of the versions that came out were just super off-road.
Yep.
Because they didn't have the licensing from Ivan Stewart.
Correct.
This game was also big in the regular arcade world, with the big arcade machine. I played it arcade-wise, NES-wise. Man, just the different type of off-road tracks they had. Now, granted, they were all very similar.
Oh, yeah.
But, man...
Then you got halfway through and then the tracks just became the same, but reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And the other drivers got tougher. There was three other drivers. I think it was red, blue, and yellow. And you were the white and red truck because Ivan Stewart. but you had to pick up the nitro bottles to get those as boost, and you picked up other things and the different jumps. And man, I liked that arena truck racing back in the day when Ivan Stewart was racing that. And it would be on TV from like the LA Coliseum and places like that. And, it just transferred over to the game. And, man, I spent hours and hours and hours playing that game. Probably not my most played game of all time.
That'd probably be Civilization, because when you play one round, like one period of that's like a month.
Now, my most played game of all time actually would probably be like NASCAR 14, because I've been playing it since like
2012.
No, yeah, probably since 4 or 5 years ago. It's about the only game I play anymore, because we only have a PlayStation 3.
Yep.
And a Wii, which we never used. But anyways, Ivan Stewart Super Off-Road, super fun game. So as you can tell, my whole list involved sports games, sports and racing. And I didn't pick any Madden games because the Madden franchise is good, but I play more NASCAR. I mean, I play a lot of Madden. If I had to pick a Madden one, it probably would have been the one on the Super Nintendo.
Not Madden 01 for the Dreamcast, where you called your plays on the save card.
No, did we have that?
Yeah,
we did have a Dreamcast.
Yeah, the cover was
Drew Brees.
Well, no, the one I was thinking of was Moss.
We had that, but we had the one with Drew Brees. Was that was that a college game or?
That was a college game.
Drew Brees, I forget.
Yeah, the Dreamcast one we had Moss on the
cover.
cover.
I don't know. I can tell you though, my least favorite. I got 3 racing games. My least favorite racing game was that Spirit of '76 on the Dreamcast.
Oh, it makes you feel better. That publisher, that was their last ever game made.
Was it?
Yep. That was LGI, I believe.
No, those are the slowest racing games.
They were known for making terrible games in general.
But yeah, so I had a hard time deciding on a Madden game, and I just like all these other games a little more. And actually, I prefer playing college football games over Madden, the old college games. Which there again, NCAA 14. 14 might have been the last year we actually bought video games for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, you can't find them anymore.
So that's my list. Again, my number one, Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road for the NES. Hands down, best game on either list.
And my number one game is from 2020 as well.
Okay.
It came out the last week of 2020. That it for Nintendo Switch. I think it may have came out for one other platform. I'm not positive on that. But it's Mortal Phoenix Rising.
Okay.
And this game has no means to be on my list because it's a style of game I really hate. It's an open world game, which I'm not a big fan of because I get completely lost and don't know what to do in them. But for some reason, I think it was the theme of this game that got me hooked into it.
Okay.
You play as just a normal mortal in a world of Greek gods, and tragedy happens on Earth.
Yeah.
And you have to face all these Greek monsters like minotaurs and cyclopses and harpies and whatnot. And you go through it and you get to meet certain gods like Hephaestus and Hermes and whatnot. And they all give you special abilities as you go through the game.
All right.
Now, it's an open world game where you can go right to the end of the game if you want to. But there's no way you're going to beat it that way because you'll be super underpowered.
Okay.
But wherever you can go at the end of the game, you can go at the very beginning, and it just says, here's the land. Get contact clues from where there's enemies, where there's certain clues. If you see a lot of stuff, you're like, hey, there's a lot of things over there. Probably something important to do over there. Very Zelda-like-ish with dungeons. They replaced the dungeons with I would say, Greek like god world. When you enter them, you have to go into these certain realms, get power ups, and it just takes you out of the main world to this certain thing. Where it's just like challenges to make sure you're leveling up at the right speed, challenges your skills, which I thought was really fun. And just a really fun open world game. They've come out with a sequel already, which was just a reskin of it.
Okay.
But with like the Chinese folklore, which was fun. You know, if I was really into Chinese folklore, I would probably put it higher because they're essentially both the same game, just with different lore. But that's my number one game from Ubisoft is the publisher. 1999, 2020.
Yeah, a little off.
2020's Nintendo Switch, Mortal Phoenix Rising.
Right. So, your list was pretty much all. Well, okay. So basically, you have sports games and non-sports games. So you had no sports games.
I almost had a sports game on.
So,
I almost did put Punch Out.
Okay. Now, Punch Out or Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
The Wii's version.
Okay. Because after I was sitting there doing my list, and I thought, all I have is sports games.
Well, that's what you play.
That's what I play. But I was thinking if I had to add a non-sports game, it would be there'd probably be two.
I think it'd be Metal Gear Solid.
Yep, Metal Gear Solid.
And Frogger.
No. Frogger could technically be a sports game. It's running across the highway. Well, it's hopping across the highway.
Yeah.
It'd be like long jumping across the highway. No, the one that they made the terrible movie of. That we all saw.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. Those would probably be my two.
Not Nintendo Track and Field with the running pad.
That's a sports game.
I don't consider field events sports.
Though the Nintendo Power Pad was great because if you ran on that and you didn't cheat and just got down on your hands and knees and used your hands, duck hunt, that whole thing back there was great. But hello and welcome to the Games Played segment of Monthly Melt. Yeah, I had a
2022.
Yep. May of 2022.
Correct.
This is the games that we played for the month. If you've never seen this before, we talk about the games that played for the month of May. And we played 6 games.
Correct.
And the first one that we played is Koi Garden.
Koi Garden, yeah.
And I don't know who published that.
That's what I was looking up because that was one of my Kickstarter games. I think it was just a person. I don't think it was a group.
But
if I remember correctly. Koi Garden.
Anyways, Koi Garden. You start with it's a fish in your hand.
Yep.
And it is published. It is self-published.
Yeah.
By Floyd Blue. So you start with a fish in your hand, and there are a starting koi pond card.
Yep.
And then in the center there are 4 other fish or creatures, because there's also frogs and dragonflies and things like that.
Yep.
And then pond cards. And the way you build out your koi pond garden is you take your creature or fish and you swap it with
one of the
ones in the row.
Correct.
And you take that water card that is below that and you add that to your garden. And each fish or creature has a token that scores different ways and moves different ways.
Yep.
So when you take that creature, so let's say you took the turtle, or let's say you started with the goldfish, I think was one, or the koi fish. We'll use koi fish. Koi fish can move straight ahead or left or right any distance in a certain type of water.
Correct.
Because they're shallow, deep. There's two other ones, I believe.
Grass.
Yeah.
I forget what the last one's called.
So with your koi fish card, you move that to where it is, and then there might be a scoring part to it, or it may just score at the end of the game. But let's say you take the turtle card, and then you get the water card that's underneath that. You add that to your board. You're building your own game board, and then when you put in the next round, when you exchange the turtle, you play the turtle.
Yep.
And the turtle can move one spot. The dragonfly, when you play that, can move diagonally.
Yep.
There's one that scores if it's next to other ones at the end of its move.
Yep.
So I thought that was very unique. The way the game played with you always exchanging the creature you're using or the animal you're using.
Yep.
Because and then there was the hidden.
Your hidden goal.
Your hidden goal, because like one of mine, in the one game we played, mine was like use two animals.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way I could have did that. All I would have been able to do was switch back and forth, and if Tim would have taken that, I would have had to play a third one anyways.
Yeah.
But that bonus was worth big points. But I thought the gameplay was very unique. You took I forget what, there's somehow you could take this like stone lantern thing and place in the water.
If you use the special power, like the rake or something.
Yeah, there's a special power that you could use. And
that anybody could use.
Yeah, you'd put the stone lantern looking thing
somewhere in your garden.
Yeah, because then that blocked that spot.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool, especially how the animals move. The frog could hop over other animals.
Yeah.
The turtle could only move one spot at a time. Dragonflies flew in diagonal patterns.
Yeah.
There's something that moves sort of like a knight in chess, where it was up two and over one. So I thought that was very unique.
Yeah. It was a fun little game. My biggest complaint is the box. It's too small once you have everything punched out and built.
Well, if you put those things together, yes.
Yeah.
You have to take them apart. We only put one together.
Yeah. But that's just a minor nitpick.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time boxes are way too big. You got to take the right size box for a deck of cards.
I'd rather have a box 3 times the size of the game.
For expansions?
No, just in general.
Yeah.
Like that one game we had that was like you're an elf tavern. It was one deck of cards,
Yeah.
but the box was huge.
Yeah.
But that was Koi Garden.
Yeah, Koi Garden, fun game.
Yep.
Definitely check it out.
The second game we played this month
was Horrified.
Yep. The Universal Monster Edition.
Yep.
First one. I'll let you start off talking about this because this was a birthday gift for you.
No, it was a Christmas present.
One of the two.
Yes, it was a Christmas present. Horrified was published by Ravensburger. Cooperative game. If you never played it, it's a cooperative game. In 2-player game, it was us versus 2 monsters, Dracula and
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought it was a very cool cooperative game because you're working at saving the townsfolk. You're working at getting rid of the monsters. Going and picking up the different items that you needed, being able to move townsfolk with you. I thought it was very cool. I thought it was very unique how the monsters moved with their deck of cards and with their
Player boards.
their own player boards. So I thought that was really cool. Horrified was a very popular game the other year. just got it this past Christmas. Finally broke into it. Really enjoyed our play of it. Can't wait to actually play it with more people. Because I do think that would change the game a bit because you add more monsters. And the monsters you pick actually change it up some.
Yeah.
So I'm not a horror movie fan at all, but I you know, you don't have to be to enjoy this game.
Oh yeah, it's a fun game.
I would like to get the American Monster one now to see if, or at least play it, see if it's any different. I'm sure it plays the same because I'm sure you can interchange them. And
No, because the people required to go to certain locations.
Yeah, but you could move.
But-
The monsters could interchange.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure how they did. And I think I've heard rumblings that there might be another one coming.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did like Japanese monsters, maybe.
Oh, there's all sorts of culture of monsters out there.
You know, or who knows? I'd like to see Canadian monsters.
I would like to see like social monsters.
Yeah, but Horrified, really good game, really good cooperative game. I'd say almost an introductory cooperative game.
I don't know, because you could have people really take over what you're doing on your turn.
Well, you can, but you can in any co-op game.
Yeah, I know, but this one really lends into it. Be like, no, that's not what you're doing. You're moving here, kind of situation.
You know, well, again, that's any co-op game. But I would think with the theme and the gameplay, it's a real good introductory to co-op gaming. But that was Horrified.
Yep. Then we got a couple games in here.
The next game we played was Rival Restaurants.
Yep. This was the second time we played this.
Yep.
But the first time we played it with the max number of people.
Yes.
Very fun game. I liked it even when we played at 2. Liked it when we played at this player count of, I believe, 6 is the max.
Yeah.
The game that we played, everybody was very nice to each other.
Except for you.
Well, until halfway through, I realized no one was getting in each other's way, which is part of this game. You gotta get into people's way.
And actually, when we played it with 2 players, it was just okay. Playing it with the full complement, I thought made the game better.
Oh, well, once we stopped being so nice, and the person with the trash started giving their trash out,
Yeah.
and I started taking people's or the other person took people's ingredients. I blocked people from taking ingredients.
Yeah.
That's when the fun ramped up.
Yeah, I mean, it plays 2 to 6. Says it's best 4 to 5. I would totally agree. The more players in this game, the better.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I had the Korean chef, who you got bonuses if you made Korean dishes. I never got any Korean dishes to make.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really got what their chef was.
No.
And I didn't use like the special market at all.
I did constantly.
You did, because it was almost like if you because you were sitting on that side of the table, you bought from there, because the people on the other side didn't either.
No.
They pretty much bought just what they needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, at more players, it changes up your strategy a little bit, because I thought at one point I was really gonna win and do well, and I finished in last.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's because I was working on multiple recipes at a time.
Well, so was I.
Yeah.
Even the one lady who couldn't get what she needed, but wouldn't trade with you at first until she had tons of cards and.
Well, then what she needed came out. I said, "Well, no. Then I'm gonna take because I know that's what you need."
Yeah, and you bought it.
I bought all of it.
So yes, you were the jerk player.
It is called Rival Restaurant, not Friendly Restaurants.
But so yeah, my thoughts on this game: 2-player versus 4-player or 6-player. More than 2.
Yeah.
It greatly. That's what it greatly improved my thought of the game.
Yeah.
And I would say probably for you as well.
Yeah, it was definitely fun with 6 more than 2.
Yeah. So that was Rival Restaurants, and that was Gap Closer Games.
Okay.
And then the next game we played was a game we played also last month,
Okay.
and that was Creature Comforts.
Yeah. And here we played with the max number,
Yep.
which I believe was 5.
Four, 5.
Yeah.
We played with 5. Even though it says it's best at 2, probably because it does take a while. And this Creature Comforts is a kids' table board game.
Yep.
With more players, because there's a lot more downtime between each player. But if I went later in the round, I planned ahead.
Yeah.
Some people didn't.
Yeah, because there's only so many things you can do, so you're like, oh.
Well, you know where you're going.
Yeah.
And you know what the dice are.
Yeah.
So in your head, before it got to be your turn, you should be able, okay, boop, 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 put all the dice out and be done.
Yeah.
But people almost waited till their turn.
Well, I think what also hurt us was table size. I think
It's a big table.
The table we played on was just a bit too big that the person on this end couldn't see the cards on the top. And
Yeah.
I think that was the problem with Restaurant Rival.
Yeah.
I think if our table was slightly smaller,
Yeah.
it would have been slightly better.
Which is weird to say you needed a smaller table.
Yeah.
I mean, for our big game little table,
Yep.
when you play Russian Railroads on a table for 2.
Hey, at least with a little table, you can see everything.
Yep. But Creature Comforts, good game.
Yep.
With the only thing again with the more players, it detracted a little bit because of the downtime between each of your turns.
Yeah.
There were some points where I think I had like 15 minutes between my turns. So, and again, I pre-planned. So for me, it was done and move on.
Yeah. But yeah, check out last monthly melt for our thoughts on this game. We pretty much told you what we liked about it. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Go out of your way to
Especially
play.
at 2 players.
Yeah, I think you give away with 3 or 4.
If it's people that played before,
Yeah.
and you all plan in your head.
Yeah.
If not 2 players, I thought it really worked. The only thing with the more players is more people bought from the ladder.
Yeah.
So we had extra spots to go to. That was the big thing with more players. Because at 2, we didn't really focus on that.
Well, because you needed the stuff when you bought.
Yeah, you need the stuff to buy.
So there's a lot more people with a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity.
Yeah,
to buy.
to buy that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was
Creature Comforts.
And the next game we played was Cloud Age.
Yep.
By Nox Games.
Okay.
N-A-N-O-X. I pronounce it Nox. This was a game that was
Probably not, but we'll see.
what? Not Nox.
Yeah.
This was played at 4. It was played for the first time there because it was punched out there.
Yeah.
Definitely a game that would have benefited from the person playing it beforehand.
Definitely.
Because learning a new game at a party slowed down the time by a lot.
It did, especially because and again I didn't have the rule book in my hand. Neither did you, so they seemed to be skipping around the rule book.
Yeah.
Because we tried playing it as we were learning.
Yeah, it says between 60 to 100 minutes. I think we doubled that time.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a bad game. It's not a game that I enjoyed.
I don't know, because we struggled to get going with it.
Even once we figured it out, when it was like round 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Still wasn't a game I enjoyed.
Yeah, it wasn't a game for me.
Hence the worst game of the month seal above me. For me, anyways.
Yeah, and I would say for me too. It's not my style game. I'm not the big heavy gamer, and I always think this isn't a big heavy game, but it played that way.
Well, I think the problem is this game could be played as a single game, like how we played it.
Yeah.
Or there was a campaign mode. I think this game was meant for campaign mode.
Yes.
There was a lot you stripped out because we weren't playing campaign. They're like,
Yeah.
don't worry about that. That's for campaign.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about this? Don't worry about that. That's
And the thing at the end of each round, how you build up your airship in this was a funky way to do it. And basically, you could always be blocked in what you needed.
Yeah.
Except for when it was your turn. Because we had 4 players, and at the end of each round, you went through the city 3 times. And you could take electric. Or no, you went through 4 times. Each player got to be the first one.
That's however many times there was players.
Yeah. So you could build, you could take electric, you could take
A card.
water, or
Electric, water.
something else you could
card.
take. And
I forgot the last. Upgrade.
If you weren't the person that was first and got water, you couldn't do anything.
Yep. Because I took water every chance I got.
Yeah. And so if the first person always took water, you couldn't do anything because you needed water to upgrade. But you also needed cards. And at the end of the game, you kept taking the water.
Yeah.
And nobody else could, so nobody else could build things. It was almost, I won't say it was broken because, other people could have took that before you, but you had to play to build, and you had to play the other stuff. But
yeah, choosing resource or upgrade instead of having a resource section and an upgrade section really slowed you down.
it was really hard because once you got behind in your resource of water, you couldn't catch up. And plus, over then on that one scoring track,
Oh yeah, with
that weird scoring where if you did something, you got this plus water, and I don't know. And again, I can't say a whole lot about it. And yes, this may be the worst game of the month, but it may be the worst game because we learned it at a party with people who've never played it before, skipped around the rule book, and it says it's best at 3.
Yeah.
We played at 4. So I don't know. It's very hard to say yes, I like this game, or no, I really did not like this game.
Like I said, it was a campaign game where they're like, oh, we should probably throw in a non-campaign mode so people will play it. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that are really broken for non-campaign versions. Like, oh, this one person's upgrading. Guess what? All of you are upgrading. It's like, but I can't. First person chose that they were going to upgrade.
Yeah.
So it would be a waste of a turn.
Yeah.
And if the next person chose upgrade, you wasted 2 turns.
Well, and with the build.
Yep.
So if somebody chooses build,
everybody. If the first person chooses build,
they get to build 2 things. You get to build 1.
Yeah.
So when you needed to upgrade, you almost had to make that your choice. So you got the 2 upgrades versus the 1.
Yeah.
Which then you didn't get the other resources.
Yeah.
And then when you did need the resources, if somebody else was ahead of you in choosing what they wanted to do, you almost didn't get that resource because water was the thing everybody chose almost all the time first.
Then I didn't like the moving mechanic.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because the last play of the game, I had to, because you had to end in a place.
You had to end in a city all the time.
But my last card I drew was a 0.
Yeah.
Which I had a bonus of 1 movement. I couldn't get to a different city.
Yeah.
So my last turn was completely pointless in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the drawing the 2 cards, and the lower one being the energy you get, the higher one being your movement.
No, the lower was your movement, your higher was your energy. That's why my movement was 0.
However it was, it was very confusing, and it took a little bit to get used to. But again, maybe as a solo game or campaign game, yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually sitting down, playing it again, and reading through the rule book and not trying to learn it on the fly. That was Cloud Age.
Yeah.
And then our last game that we played this month was Just One.
Yeah. Classic party game.
Really good party game. And that is from Repos.
Yep.
And we played it with 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We played with 8 people.
You could have just seen how many placed there and added 1 to it.
It placed 7 plus.
Yep. So we played with 8.
It says it's best at 6 or 7. We played with 8. It's a blast.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's a standard party game.
Yeah. Because it's funny to see what people will put. And especially, it was fun to play with people we didn't know real well.
Yeah, like we've known them and we've played with them before.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been so long. And
But we did, like, they don't know some of our things.
yeah.
Like, the one word that somebody had to guess was
Rain?
myth.
Oh, man.
Was myth. Well, my thing was me. That was my clue. I put me because the man, the myth, the legend.
I just put fake.
That's how I put it in my head. Yeah, one was rain.
Yeah.
Somebody had to get.
Yep. You put man.
No, yeah, I put, or no, it was man. I had to guess man, and I put rain.
No, because I put parade. Because rain on my
Okay.
parade.
Okay, so yeah, so it was rain, and I put man, thinking they'd get Rain Man.
Yeah.
Because my other thought for that was the Beatles,
Mm-hmm.
because of Rain, the
Movie.
cover show.
Well, I mean, it's been turned into a movie.
Okay.
It's been a stage production.
Yeah. But this game brings huge laughs. We laughed the whole time, especially when somebody got a type of cheese.
Canada Bear.
Yeah, and none of us knew what it was.
Well, we knew what it was. We didn't know how to describe
How
it.
to get that person to say that type of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just funny moments. It's a great party game. If you ever get to play just one,
Yep.
take that opportunity. If you're playing with people you don't know really well, it can be just as fun as playing with people you do know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, we don't have more friends that we should get this game to play.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I'd play it more.
Mm-hmm.
But so you picked your least favorite of the month.
Yeah.
So I guess that means I got to pick my favorite of the month.
Yeah.
And man, that's a toss-up. Because it'd be between Just One, Horrified, and Koi Garden. I gotta go with Just One for the sheer factor of how fun it was.
Mm-hmm.
Playing that with a group, and that's what makes it. I get to play games with you all the time.
Yeah.
I don't get to play games with these other people very often. Hello and welcome to Chocolate Covered Games Monthly Melt Kickstarter Crowdfunding
Yep. Crowdfunding.
edition for May of 2022. This month, we each only have 2
Yep.
projects, and I have 2 honorable mentions and sort of.
So that's 6 for you.
Nah. The 2 I'll give. I didn't do a lot of research on them. Was the Dead Ball.
Okay.
It isn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Dead Ball Second Edition. If you played the first one, check it out. It's not my favorite baseball simulation, Series 1. And the other one is Microcrime. Did you look at that one at all?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a roll and write investigation game for $1
Okay.
that you can play like as a roll and write, an RPG, a board game. I don't know. It just looked too weird that I couldn't say yes, go do that one. But my first of 2 that I can say yes to is called Brand New Zoo by Bridge City Game Collective.
Okay.
And they're actually out of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So they're state local.
Well, they're local to us. That they're in America.
Well, they live with us, and they're in our state.
I consider anything in America local to us.
Yeah. So, Brand New Zoo is a print and play.
Okay.
Jumping on this whole new Kickstarter print and play thing that everybody's doing. Seems like it's a zoo building game, and it already comes with 10 expansions.
Okay.
That can be played alone or all together. Plays from 1 to 100, it says. But I'm sure if you print out 101 sheets, you can still play with that person.
Yeah, you got to determine which one has to sit out.
It's 20 to 40 minutes, where you attempt to build your best zoo using shared dice. Each player has their own single sheet of paper and writing utensil, while another player needs 2 dice that will be shared. So basically, you roll the dice. I use each dice result to either hire zookeepers, draw an enclosure, acquire an animal, and every animal will score different at the end of the game. There's score bonuses for planning basically how you play in your zoo and your animal variety, so you want to watch how you do that because you can score bonuses at the end. I said there's expansions. To me, it just looked very unique as a roll and write. You know, we're getting so many roll and writes. It's hard to.
Because they're easy to produce. You're like,
Yeah.
this is my idea.
But it's easy to
print it.
become new.
Yeah.
I almost think of this as like Zularetto, but in roll and write, because you're building the enclosures, you're putting the animal in there. You know, there's admission that you have to charge. You know, the end of the game is triggered when one or more players fill in their final zookeeper circle. So that you want to be careful of, because if you hire too many zookeepers too quickly, you end the game quicker.
Yeah.
And you know, so somebody like you would try to score a bunch right away, and then end the game as quick as you can so nobody else can catch up.
Exactly. That's the strategy.
Sort of like you in Space Base,
Yeah. There's a goal.
where all you do is
The bottom row.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way to win the game.
So I never really get enjoyment out of that game because I never get to do much. Like, I can't build the engine up in that one. But anyways, you know, so there's flamingos, zebras, penguins, lions, hippos, elephants. So a whole bunch of different animals. It's their first game that they're creating. It looks like, I do believe that they're independent creators. The designer is, the designer and the artist are both from Pittsburgh, I believe.
Okay.
So, I just think it looks cool, and it only cost, I did see, I think it's $4. I'll double check that. Yes, $4. $4 for this, and it ends on June 5th.
Okay.
So, yeah, $4 for Brand New Zoo from Bridge City Game Collective.
Alright. And the $1 is just their general price, or is there a
No, it's $4.
4? Okay.
Yeah, the $1 one was that micro crime thing.
Okay. Alright, so my first game up here is Trailblaze, the John Muir Trail. It is by Mariposa Games. This is their first game ever. They're local to us. They're based in Nevada.
It's not local to us at all.
They're in America. It ends June 7th. It has funded. They've reached their goal. They've surpassed by a good margin. They were asking for $20,000. Last time I checked, they were over $111,000
Okay.
currently. There is only one price for people that aren't retail store, and that's $59 US.
Okay.
And if you're also in the US, it's $12 shipping, so
Okay.
$71 total. plays 1 to 4 players, 30 minutes per player.
All right.
It is a set collecting resource management game
Okay.
where there's a main board, and that is of a map of the John Muir Trail out in California,
Okay.
where you go through it's the southern part of California that trail is at, if I remember correctly. And on that board, it has the trail itself, and on the bottom it has the different elevations that the trail goes on.
Okay.
And then you have a player board, which is your backpack that holds your resources, like
All right.
water, first aid kit, things you've seen, stuff like that. And it has a very unique feature that everybody gets their own player deck, but because they're called maps.
Yeah.
But instead of just being shuffled, they come on the I wish I remember what they called, like those little eye hook things that clamp shut. No,
Carabiner.
no, it's not a carabiner. It's the circle things that have like a little hinge, and they overlap a little bit.
No, it's just yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Clasp.
Yeah, and that's your deck, and you flip
Okay.
through it, and it requires you to have certain things on you to keep moving on the trail. And the thing I like about it is the only way you score is if you reach the trail end.
Okay.
So if you play with 4 people, and like 2 of them are him hauling around, enjoying the sight, blah blah, and like one person rushes off to the end of the trail, and the other, like a second person, just barely gets there on the last turn. You know, doesn't matter how many points those other 2 people score. None of that counts.
So they can't win at all.
Correct.
Huh.
Because they didn't finish the trail. It's about finishing the trail,
Okay.
which I like. You know, somebody that stayed behind, scoring all these points, shouldn't be able to win if they didn't complete the main goal of the game, which is a nice little touch, I think. So it does kind of push you to keep going forward in the game. They have reached a bunch of stretch goals. One of them was to unlock solo player mode, which they've done. Upgrade components, more map packs, because I guess each map deck is different, you know, how they come up. Spot UV on the box, art inside the box, more cards. Most of the people that are involved in this project, since this is a first time company, Mariposa Game, are brand new.
Okay.
The only one that had any credits to their name is their illustrator, which is Andrew Bosley, who's doing the illustration. Other than that, everybody, this is more or less their first game. It looks very nice. Like I said, they keep having a lot of components updating because of how much they've crushed their goal. So if, you know, games that involve trails is something you like, I think this would be a great one for people to pick up. Looks very nice. Didn't look too complicated. It's at the point where I think they're getting where they should stop adding better components, because they're going to get to the point where it's overproduced for essentially what it is. But it's right at that point where it's really nice. I don't think they need to add any more. But that was the Trailblaze, the John Muir Trail. It ends, let me write this down, June 7th, so there is still time to back it.
All right. My second one is called Dice Park Dungeons of Doom
I did see this one.
by Baraka Games.
I couldn't pronounce this.
Baraka.
Mm.
Baraka. That's what I'm going to go with. Sorry if I pronounce that wrong. $5
Mhm.
again. Good price range.
Yep.
And it is another print and play roll and write. I don't know. I am on that kick too because of the price, and those games just seem to be up my alley, time wise.
Mhm.
So in this game, again, each player gets a sheet of paper. You need 5 dice, a pencil, and an eraser. Whether it's on the pencil or the big eraser. So you roll your dice, use them to create your dungeon, You place creatures in your dungeon and fill the terror gauge by adding those creatures. You complete challenges to score the most points. And your goal is to create the most frightening dungeon. Just looks very simple to play. Again, a lot of roll and writes can be overcomplicated sometimes.
Yeah.
Hadrian's Wall
Yeah.
as a roll and write was very complicated. But I like small, easy roll and writes. They have reached some stretch goals. Has funded. And so for $5 you get that game, but if you go $10, they also created a previous game, and for $10 you get both of those, called Air Flip.
Okay.
So $10, 2 games. It's not a bad deal. Again, I think it looks interesting because you're trying to create a frightening dungeon. You're using, again, the dice to place or to build the dungeon and to place creatures.
Okay.
Because you can place like walls and candles and different things on the dice to create how people have to would move through your dungeon and everything. Looks interesting to me. Again, $5. How can you beat that?
How long's it on Kickstarter?
Till June 9th.
Okay.
So, again, that's Dice Park Dungeons of Doom from Berica. We'll go with that.
Now, do they force you to print the dice as well?
Yes. No.
You print out your paper and then you get 3D.
There was one game I was looking at, and I'll look it up here, where they sent you the stickers.
Okay.
You had to buy your own blocks. And I couldn't figure out if, like, all the other terrain stuff you had to have, or if that was like print and fold, or...
Oh, you're talking the Civil War game that's being produced out of the UK.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you got provided all this stuff. They just kind of send you the
rule book and the stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you essentially with the rule book you can essentially just make as fancy as you want. You could take old terrain from other games.
Cover your last game, and I'll look up what that game was here.
Okay. My last game is a RPG.
Okay.
It's called Regency. It is by Many Sided Dice. This is their second RPG that they've kickstarted.
Okay.
They are local to us. They're based out of Tennessee.
Local to us.
It's less than a day drive. Anything less than a day drive should be considered local.
Local's like 50 miles.
They have not funded yet.
Except if you cross the river to the west shore.
Yep. They have not funded yet. They're at as of right now $11,868 out of the 25 goal, but they have until June 12th to fund, so they still have about 2 weeks left of this recording to fund. So I think they might make it.
Okay.
It's described as a Jane Austen novel come in RPG form. So any of those people that love Emma or Pride and Prejudice or books like that, this would be a fun RPG for you, where essentially you play as a Victorian person.
Okay.
Of a family that's trying to move up in society, or you could play as a well-to-do family in society already, and it's essentially you at events,
all right,
gossiping, business trades, Victorian social hierarchy kind of stuff. We don't do any RPGs on this channel, like playthroughs like some channels do.
Yeah.
But if we did, I think this is the one I would push for our channel, where we sit around gossiping as Victorian people.
But we have that one that I want you to start doing.
Well, that's
not an RPG.
Yeah. No, I'm talking like the channels that have 5 or 6 people playing.
Yeah.
I think this would be our channel's RPG, because this reminded me of an RPG from the early 2000s.
Okay.
I couldn't find what it was called because I was trying to describe it. My phone was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Where essentially all it was it also took place in the Victorian era. You played as a person of the house, and all the time was tea time, and all you did was gossip. no one actually did anything, but you make these stories about gossiping about what you heard about what other families were doing.
Though, if we were doing an RPG with Tea Time, I think for us it'd end up more like the Tea Time show at the Ren Fair.
Yep. But that was an old game, 2 decades ago at this point. This one, has a little bit more structures and rules. They say if they hit their goal, there's a couple expansions they want to add. They want to add, for the Edwardian era,
Okay.
which is right before World War One. One where it would add, a person can play as a royal family, like, the Duke from this place is at my party, hoity-toity. One to, make it a little interesting, they want to add Coven if they hit the goal, where somebody's secretly a witch, because, why not? The pricing on this is interesting. The 3 main prices are $10, which is for PDF.
Okay.
And they mark this one as their hardship level. Like, times are tough, it says, and they want people to play their game. So,
That's a smart thing.
for $10, you can get the PDF.
Well, I mean, how many people don't have tablets or computers? Not a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you can print out your stuff.
Yeah,
PDF.
but I mean,
Yeah.
for the I was gonna say Dungeon Master, but the GM,
Yeah.
you can just have everything right on a tablet or something.
Yeah.
You don't need to print it.
For $25, you can get the PDFs. This is what they call their standard one.
Okay.
So if you can afford the $25, they would appreciate you to donate that one. Which there are more people donating at the 25 than the 10, so it's nice that the system's not broken and people aren't taking advantage of them. Then $60 is for the physical book.
Okay.
And then it goes all the way up to, I think, like 140 for like linen finish, like silk bookmarker, like really high end, which I don't think anybody's backed at that point. But for $10 to $60 for this RPG isn't a bad price. Like I said, it's an RPG I could like because you don't level in like fighting, you level in like gossip and Regencies and whatnot. So that was Regency. It ends June 12th.
Okay.
Has not funded yet. It's about halfway to its goal with about 2 weeks to go.
All right.
So check that out and back them if you think you'd like it.
All right. So that game we were talking about, the Civil War game made in the UK, is called The Momentous Issue of War.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
So there's some other interesting Kickstarters I saw here when I was looking. For RPG wise, Goblin Jug Band.
Yeah.
Didn't look at it, just on the title alone, that sold me. Because who doesn't want to travel around as a Goblin Jug Band? There's another funny one I saw on there. I don't know if you saw. It was like a game cooler.
Nah, I didn't see that one.
Oh, you didn't see that?
Didn't see Game Cooler.
Yeah, the first game table cooler.
Okay.
Has not funded. Has 5 days to go. Don't think it'll make it. But one of the big games. There are a couple big games that are ending soon. That sorry, I'm flipping through everything here. That I thought I'd mention because neither one of us talked about was The Flood.
Okay. Which is interesting because I thought that was on GameFound a couple months ago. So I don't know if they're running it here as well.
I don't remember.
Or maybe that was called The Ark on GameFound. No, there was something like that.
Yeah, the Flood is definitely a big time game on here.
Too big for our channel. That's why we didn't mention it.
I did see a Heroes of Normandy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thing, and just the other one I'd want to mention would have made my short list of ones to talk about too, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Is it Union Stockyard? Is that what it's called?
I have no idea.
You didn't see that one?
Nope.
It's about running a meat packing company in the Chicago Union Stockyards.
Nah, I didn't see that one.
I know it does end soon, I believe.
You could always just type it up in the search bar of that.
If I remember what it was. I think it was called Union Stockyard. If you're watching this channel, you probably already know what it's called.
Yeah.
considering we're not the, the big name board gaming channel.
I think the people that watch us are depending on us to give them information. I'd be sad if they weren't.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste everybody's time looking for it. But let us know down in the comments, what you're looking at, Kickstarter, crowdfunding wise.
From GameFound, I didn't check GameFound.
Yeah, I didn't either. But have you gotten any crowdfunded games in lately?
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you got any of those in. I believe we got...
we got our second half of the X-Men.
Marvel United.
Finally came in. And I got in Chai, which made me thrilled because a lot of people started asking for refunds because of all the problems they had. They didn't think that was going to happen.
You're still waiting on Sweet Mess.
Yep, which probably never going to happen because they're looking to sell the IP again.
Is there any other ones that you're waiting on? If you know off the top of your head?
Not that I can remember. I don't think there's too many out that have. I'm waiting on a Button Shy game.
Okay.
Waiting on Rover.
All right. We're big Button Shy fans.
They always get you. They're like, hey, $10, you'll get this game. I'm like, fine.
Well, that's why these print and play ones for $5 and all that. They intrigue me, and I always forget to back them because there was one that, like last month or a couple months ago, I wanted to do, and I just completely forgot about it.
I mean, I do want to send an email to Button Shy to calm it down because they keep putting out more and more Kickstarters faster, it seems. They also keep putting out more than 18 cards for their Kickstarters. Like Rover is coming with like 7 expansions, making it like a 51 card game. I'm like, no.
But the base game is 18 cards.
Doesn't matter. Slow your...
You don't need the expansions.
You know what? They could lie to me. They could make those 7 other games their own games. Just name them different planets. There's 7 planets. Name one Mercury.
Yeah.
Name one Venus.
Well, Rover isn't a planet.
Well, no, that's what you rebrand it. You call it the Planet Series. It's all the same. You just... The rover's on a different planet each time. This marketing is smart.
Yeah. But if you do have a favorite company that does a lot of Kickstarters
that you back,
put that down in the comments. If a company comes to Kickstarter with a game, it's a guaranteed back for you no matter what. Let us know. Button Shy seems to be
ours.
Yeah.
Because we're not one of those people that can back every Mammoth game and every Simon game.
Yeah. That's why the ones that are $4 and $5 look good to me. There was another game I was going to ask you if you looked at. Crazy Horses.
No.
Crazy Horses, it's a game that, again, can be played multiple ways. And you can use it as a drinking game, as a betting game, as a kid's game. The thing does look cool that it has these little like horse heads on tracks, like they're 3D, and you move them up the track with your scoring. So that looked cool.
Okay.
But again, let us know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Off Topic for May of 2022.
Yeah.
This is our monthly melt from Chocolate Covered Games.
Yep.
If this is your first time watching it, I'm Doug.
And I'm Tim.
And this month it was my pick for our off topic, which Tim always has to wonder what it is because he thinks I just look out the window and pick something.
It is. I was going to say window blind, but this room has no blinds.
No, So we're getting close to the end of the school year. So I figured, why not? What was your favorite subjects in school? I know what yours were.
Okay.
Lunch, recess, and nap time.
It wasn't. See, I didn't go to lunch in high school. It became another study hall.
Well, I didn't say it had to be high school.
Well, in general, I don't remember going to lunch in middle school either, because I didn't like where it was located at. It's like in the weird part of the building.
Middle school.
Yeah, the building over there.
Oh.
Like you had to go into the center of the school and then
No,
down.
you just went down the steps.
Yeah, to get there you had to go to like the entrance of the school and then down. It's very weird.
Wasn't weird.
It was for me. That's why I never went to lunch in middle school.
The worst part is if you had a class on the top floor after that.
No, I
Because
wasn't.
you just ate lunch and then you had to go up like 18 flights of stairs.
I started at the top floor for homeroom, then band, which was in the basement, And then to science, which was my homeroom again, back to the very top.
But so in school, what was your favorite subjects? Now I'm talking elementary, middle, high school, college, not summer school
Yeah. I never went to summer school.
or the school of hard knocks.
No, I would say study hall was my favorite subject. My senior year, I had 5 study halls.
Well, that's because you just didn't go to class.
No,
Not going to class doesn't count as a study hall.
no, because you only have to take math all 4 years, and I forget what other subject all 4 years. And the rest were like electorals. I had enough credits to graduate, so everything just became study halls.
So you didn't have a favorite subject at all, any time in school?
Uh,
Not coloring in kindergarten,
no. Well,
or computer lab in elementary school?
I would say public speaking in college was one of my favorite classes.
Okay.
For some reason, I really loved public speaking. It's a class I don't remember too much of, like when I was in the class, because I could never remember when I had speeches. It always came as like a shock to me. Like I would come in that day and like, hey, we got this speech due, and I would always wonder, when did we hear about this?
Probably when you were sleeping.
No, but it was one of
Or
those.
you were skipping class to go to Shady Maple.
No, because this was our first class in the morning.
Again, skipping class to go to Shady Maple.
But
Or hanging out in that store parking lot sleeping.
no, we never hung out outside of that fish place. We go.
No, not that store. The other one that was across the road.
Oh, the front for like had to be a front for moving things. It was like something free, unclaimed free.
Something like that.
No, public speaking would be up there.
So you like that more than all your cooking classes in college?
Well, our cooking classes weren't really classes. I mean, we got grade for them, but they were just go in the kitchen, goof around, and don't like injure yourself.
When you took Frenchery cooking.
Well, it wasn't Frenchery. That was our regional cooking classes when we went to different regions.
Yeah, but I figured there was a class called Frenchery. You
No.
cook French stuff and
No.
Spanishy.
No, our cooking classics were, basic, advanced, regional. There was one that was like modern, which by this point, like that class would be considered past because of trends moving so fast.
So you didn't like those classes?
Oh, I did, but I wouldn't consider them classes. Our instructors, like, we were one of the first classes for culinary in that building.
Okay.
And then, like, I don't think they got like accredited people because a lot of our chefs, had regular jobs as well where they worked in kitchens and whatnot. So sometimes they just wouldn't show up because they worked the night before and didn't feel like coming in, or leave early because they had to work a shift.
See, that sounds like a shady college across from another shady business.
But yeah, it's changed a lot since then. I found out. Where I think they got like accredited people now and whatnot.
See,
And they've changed their name.
yeah, well, at least the college you went to is still open.
Yeah.
The one I graduated from is closed.
Well, it's gone over. It's been.
Yeah, but it's still there.
Yeah. I mean, Wyoming clearly isn't there.
No, I only went there for a year.
Yeah.
But the business school I graduated from isn't there.
Oh, all business schools closed. This part of businesses closing.
Yep. I will never forgive those people, though, at that school because, one, they, the day before graduation, they said that I had to pay for 2 extra classes. That when I started there, they said my credits were going to transfer, and they never told me they didn't. So I had to pay the extra money. And then 2, they would not let me do the internship where I went out on my own, worked hard with the place to get that internship, guaranteed them I would stay after I graduated, because I would have graduated in the middle of their length of internship. The company approved that, and the school said no because they wanted me to go to another business that they were friends with those people.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not forgive that school for that.
That's how businesses work. Connections. That's like my second college. None of my credits transferred, despite them constantly telling me, yeah, they've transferred. It's supposed to be a 2-year college. 2 years went up. I contacted them like, hey, when's graduation date? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you still have 6 more years of college to go. And I said, no, I don't. You people are fools. I'm getting out now. And I proceeded to pay those people in pennies for like a year and a half, hoping they would complain about that. They never did, so I just stopped paying them.
Yeah. But, so at the business school, I really didn't have any favorite class. Maybe the accounting class I had. That would be about the only one there. Though my favorite class out of everything I took all through school would be my senior year of high school, AP American History, the Advanced Placement American History. Because I took the easiest advanced placement course and the hardest advanced placement course. Because AP American History was the easiest one, AP Music Theory was the hardest one. And that one also had the weirdest grading scale. Because the teacher for that, one test would be scaled on 5,000 points. And the next test would be on 100. But it would be like 4 questions. So each question was 25% of your grade. Where the one for based on 5,000 was like 100 questions. So the teacher there always made things interesting on how you got to the grade you did, which I think by the end of the year he just sort of gave you whatever grade you felt. But I don't know, like going back to middle school, maybe woodshop. I enjoyed that. Band was easily my favorite from middle school to high school. Those were that was easy. I don't even count band sometimes.
Yeah, it was just there.
And it was a class, but it was also basically your life in middle school and high school.
In fairness, I think I was the only person that got a failing grade in band in high school.
What? No, you didn't.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah. One of my semesters, I got like an F because I didn't complete something. Because
It had to be your senior year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because I was going to say, it wasn't... Because that's the new teacher you had. It wasn't...
Yeah, my senior year, because you had to do a playing test.
And
I kept scheduling it. And he kept unscheduling it. So when the thing came, he's like, yeah, you never did your playing test. So I'm like, I'm in the room I would just not leave the room. Like, I'm ready. He's like, I gotta do stuff. I think one of the best classes I've ever had was in college. I'm trying to remember the correct name of it. It was called, I want to say, meat productions or something like that. Everybody just called it slaughtery class. Because it was just, we watched videos of different slaughterhouses. We would go to places that were farms, like we went to a duck farm, we went to like a veal farm. We'd watch these little animals, go onto the table.
Is that how they went on?
Like most people move on from this life, these animals would move to a table.
So for those of you that don't know, this is apparently moving on from this world.
Yeah. And, it's just a fascinating class. And, I know some people will be like, oh, that's horrible, this is why people become vegetarians or vegans and whatnot. But it's really interesting to see a large scale rabbit farm and how they mow down hundreds of rabbits to meet our rabbit needs and whatnot. And it's something you don't think about. Like, when was the last time you thought of a big field of bunnies and all of a sudden no more bunnies are alive there?
I'm picturing a Gatling gun, like a prison Gatling gun, up on a wall, field of bunnies, and they're all.
Well, no, it's done more humane than that, but because they can't do that because there'd be hardly any useful meat. You know, but you watch videos where they drive spikes into the skulls of hogs and whatnot after being electrocuted, and how they put down calves. And
See, I don't watch it stuff because I enjoy eating meat too much.
I do too. Sometimes we would be watching the videos while eating a dish with that animal because it's what you do in culinary school, and you appreciate what that animal's given to you.
Yeah, I mean, our family hunts and everything.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, I guess I think of that different. I don't know why.
Well, this is hunting on easy mode, where the things are trapped, you're feeding them, and you know the date that they expire.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's one way to think about it. Hunting on easy mode.
That's how our teacher taught us. He's like, none of these people are wrong in what they're doing. And they're providing a service that's being asked for.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to look at it.
I know. Go back. What about elementary school? Do you remember elementary school?
I do.
For some of us, it's farther back.
I don't think we had like individual classes, because you would have your one teacher. You were with your teacher all the time.
But did you have a favorite subject? I mean, like you went to the art room, you went to the band room, you went to the gym.
Yeah. For those in the know, we were filming at the firehouse, and you can hear one of the trucks going now, so something must have happened.
Yes, it did.
I would say my favorite subject in elementary school was probably spelling, by far, because I can't spell, and that's the first thing I learned is I can't spell.
Yeah.
And I would always get like zeros or ones, and anywhere longer than like 6 letters long.
Yeah, I think spelling would be my
Because then they put the answers on the overhead projector, and you're like, well, mark this one wrong, mark this one wrong.
And I enjoyed math. Spelling I didn't care for. Neither one of us said we enjoyed gym.
Well, gym was fun.
I enjoyed certain aspects
I
of
never
gym.
hated gym. Especially in high school when I switched over to weightlifting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the class in middle school where you built the little balsa wood bridge.
That was woodshop.
Was that woodshop?
Yeah.
I thought that was called something else. 'Cause that was the only wood thing
Well,
we did.
industrial technology.
Yeah, that's
they
what.
called it.
Yeah, that was a great class. Art was always fun.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a class I ever hated.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of French in high school because I was unteachable according to the teacher.
Well, I got moved back from Spanish 2 to Spanish 1.
I don't blame the teacher. My French teacher, was her last year there, and she's like, Tim, you're not understanding any of this. We're 2 months in, and you're still in like week 1 words.
Yeah.
She's like, why don't you just make it a study hall? Everything will be fine. I'll give you a passing grade. No one would be the wiser, because I needed foreign language at least once for college.
Yeah. But if you had a favorite subject in school, put it down below in the comments. If you had a subject you didn't like, put that down there too.
Favorite teacher?
Favorite teachers, and some upcoming off topics. If you'd like to hear us talk about something, let us know down in the comments as well.
Okay. Thank you for watching this monthly melt. Make sure to check out the other videos in it. Leave a like and a hit subscribe. We're getting closer to 50. I think we're at like 38 now. So we keep moving up slowly. And as always, stay sweet.